What's up, everyone? What I'd like to do is I'd like to go through the brand new Kiawe supporter that's just been revealed on the internet. It is from the forthcoming Sun and Moon 3 set. A really exciting card. I can't wait to talk about this card because it allows you to get full fire energy from your deck, attach them to any one Pokemon, and then what happens is your turn ends. But I have to say, this could potentially make fire decks completely unstoppable. So let's just have a look and see what kind of cards could actually benefit from this. So what I've done is I've just loaded up the trading card game. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the fact that it doesn't actually restrict you to thinking about just your fire basics. And I'm just going to keep it to fire basics because the whole point of this kind of deck is not to just build up something like a stage 2 deck and have all of the energy on there, but really try and rack up the pressure on some of the water type decks that have been coming out. The grass type decks have really been supported well with forested giant plants. It does make me wonder, especially with the R&D of Japan, does it actually mean that water has just crept forward a bit too much and grass has just crept forward a bit too much? Are they just trying to rebalance the format in Fire's favour? But the Agile card also allows a certain versatility, so you can attach it to any Pokemon. It doesn't really matter whether it's a fire Pokemon or not. So let's just have a look first of all at Dragonite. Can you imagine that you could be throwing out a Hyper Beam from 130 turn 2 with a 100% guarantee of an energy discard from the opponent's active Pokemon? That's quite exciting. I just thought maybe also it could be useful for Drampa GX. I don't know whether you could actually pull off a Drampa Berserk, maybe with a couple of Rainbow Energies. You could actually do that. You could Rainbow Energy one of your bench Pokemon and have an automatic turn to 150. That would be quite exciting. And also, it would also be very useful because if you don't actually have your Kiawe supporter, you could just do Big Wheel, which would be quite a useful setup attack. So I thought maybe Drampa could actually show some potential with this new supporter. Here's one which is quite off the wall. So can you imagine if we got Ho-Oh EX, turn 1 Kiawe, and then what you do is you bench two Smeargles. You could use Elemental Fire. I do wonder whether there is going to be some sort of Pokemon Trainer item card which might resemble Battle Compressor, and the reason why is because Battle Compressor is very important in the Japanese metagame at the moment. Obviously it goes back to XY onwards, but it is pretty much a stable card, and I do wonder whether Battle Compressor was too powerful but an essential part of deck building. Maybe, I don't know, there could be an item that comes out. I'm calling it. I'm saying that there will be a Battle Compressor S type card that will be coming out. We'll have to see. But if that was the case, then you could then definitely discard a couple of alternative type energy cards, and then use Smeargle's coat ability to just replace them. And because you've already got the basic fire energy card attached to it, it would turn Ho-Oh EX into quite a powerhouse, and that would be quite interesting. But obviously, if you actually have some kind of a Compressor S deck, it would be nice to see an item, I think, which allows you to discard just 2 Pokemon. I think that would be okay. Discard 1, I don't know whether it would be useful, or maybe even if it was just like based on a flip, so you could play the item card, flip coin up to 3 times, for every heads you could discard a card. I don't know, it could be something, but that's just in case some new item comes about. So Ho-Oh EX could be quite interesting. Lugia EX, right? Okay, so turn 1, you play your Kiawe and you put enough energies onto Lugia for Deep Hurricane. The only downside for this one really is that you would be able to do your 80 plus 70 as long as you've got your Stadium Energy card in play and as long as it remains in play. But then what you could also have is you can actually have your opponent attacking with Tapu Lele, and so if they attack with Tapu Lele or an Aero Ball type-esque attack, then it would be 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 150 if they play a choice band. However, you could play a choice band as well, and if you play a choice band, you're hitting 180 in the first turn, which is quite significant. So Lugia EX, and the great thing about Lugia EX as well is it is splashable too, so that's another potential card. Hang on to your Lugia EXs. Okay, right, Snorlax Gx. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting one because if you play your Kiawe, you can accelerate your energies right up to 4 straight away, and you've got Thunderous Snore and Pulverizing Pancake within reach. So, in actual fact, if you attach your energy, you could be doing a turn 2 Pulverizing Pancake, especially if you're going first and you're not attacking first time. That would be really interesting. So again, you know, you could just have anything anything active pretty much being destroyed in the game. What you could do is you could combine this with Teampipokemon Pokepath. You could then bring up the actual Tapu Leles that they may have in their hand, and again, you know, go high in prizes very, very quickly. That could also then be combined with Ninja Boy. So obviously Pancakes came out a couple of sets ago, and Pancakes was a deck where you could actually just attach all of your energies onto Regirock without any fear, and then a Ninja Boy into the Snorlax. Well, this is quite interesting because this could actually be a reverse. You could play as Ninja Boy and then sub out your Snorlax for a suitable fire Pokemon. So again, you know, another potential winner there. When I was going through the cards, I thought it would be quite interesting to do a Dragon Ascent turn 2. So if you have a Mega Rayquaza EX, the Dragon type, you could actually be doing potentially the largest attack in the game. 300 damage, discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon. It's not too bad considering that you do also have some fire alternatives that would benefit from getting the fire energy back from the discard, and benefit from actually having the fire energies in the discard. I'm thinking Turtonator GX in this case. The great thing about Mega Rayquaza as well in this type is that it is weak to Fairy, and although we do have Sylveon GX, it is very rare for Sylveon GX to actually be attacking. It is difficult to get the choice band into Sylveon GX and then pull off the 140 to 280. So we are really, really looking at slim chances and slim possibilities of having a retaliatory attack with a Fairy Pokemon. Obviously, you know, there is Mega Gardevoir out there and Gardevoir EX and so on and so forth, but again, it just makes this pseudo playable as well. So look out for Mega Rayquaza EX decks. That could actually be combined also with the Reshiram Turbo Glaze as well, so that would be a really interesting deck to try out. Whether it's going to work or whether it's just for fun, I don't know. Mega Rayquaza EX, the other Mega Rayquaza EX with Emerald Break. Attacks does 30 damage times the number of your bench Pokemon. So what you could have is you can have 180 with I think it's 180, 8 times 3, 240 with a Skyfield, 270 with a choice band. Now that could be pulled off turn 2, and it gives a nice alternative to having to find double colourless, which is easy to remove from Sylveon GX. In actual fact, this supporter does counter Sylveon GX as well, because Sylveon GX kind of restricts your energy attachments per turn, and with 4 on the field and 1 manual attachment, Sylveon GXs would have a really, really tough time to counter that. Okay, so next we also have Camera Up DX. So we're looking at large explosive attacks, potentially 250 with that. That would be really interesting. Obviously, you would lose your energies if you had to discard all 5 potentially, or even 6. You could get 300 if you attach first time, play the supporter, and then next turn attach that fire energy card. So you'll have 6 in play. That would be really, really good to have destroying virtually anything in the format, and then you could use Turtonator GX to bring them back, which we're going to have a look at in a second. Combustion Blast and those type of attacks that allow you to wait a turn. and actually do something useful would be quite an interesting take on this supporter. So you could use Combustion Blast, and then next turn, if you're not able to use Combustion Blast and you don't really want to use Wing Attack, if you want to heal, you could actually heal and then play your supporter again. So this would be really interesting because you could actually combine it with something like Energy Recycler. So Energy Recycler would actually be useful as a combination with something like Combustion Blast. You can play Max Potion. So if you Max Potion any damage off your Charizard EX, for example, Energy Recycler, and then play the supporter again, you could just recycle and heal whatever you're attacking with. So again, that's quite interesting as well. Also makes Emboar EX quite a playable card as well. Discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon is the downside, but again, you know, it's not going to be that bad. And also, what you could do is you can actually use double colorless with this as well. So it just again, you know, Fire Acceleration does open up a lot of cards that just weren't available before. Quite excited to think about Entei because it's a 1 prize sacrifice if you lose your Entei. Now Entei also allows you to have up to 2 Pokemon Tools two Pokemon Tool cards attached to it. So what you could do is you can have 2 Choice Bands, play the 2 Choice Bands onto Entei, and then what you could do is you could use the supporter to get all of the energies from your deck onto your Entei, and then a turn to Heat Tackle. So we're thinking 130 plus 30 plus 30, that's 190, with a downside of just doing 30 damage to yourself. But Heat Tackle would actually be ferocious, totally. If you didn't find it, you could just use Flame Screen instead. So that's quite interesting. Could we see the return of Entei? Flareon EX. So if you have Flareon EX, you could potentially have 5 energies on for Blaze Ball. So that does 50, 70, 90, 110, 130, 150 damage. With another energy, you could actually have 170. So again, turns Flareon into a little bit of a mini powerhouse. So it'll be quite interesting to see. Okay, right. The most obvious partnership that we can have with this card, though, is Turtonator GX. So if you have Turtonator GX, Shell Trap, during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if the Pokemon is knocked out, you just put 8. So that's absolutely fine. You could combine it with double colorless. But with Kiawe, you could actually combine it with Bright Flame. So in turn 2, you actually have 160, discard 2 Fire Energy from this Pokemon. You can just discard those 2. You'd have 5 on there anyway if you included your first attachment. If you have a second attachment, you could then have 6 on there. So 6 goes down to 4 and then attach again. So 5 goes down to 3, and then 3 goes down to 2. So you can actually swing 3 consecutive 160 hits with Bright Flame. And if you needed to, you could then play Max Potion, attach a single Fire Energy card, and then have the GX attack attach your 5 energy cards that you've just lost onto a bench Turtonator. So again, you are just rolling and hitting out for 160 each and every single turn after that first turn. I think that is just going to make Turtonator GX absolutely chronically dangerous and hard to take down. Tapu GX. So if you had Tapu Lele GX, if you actually had those 4 energy cards on there for Energy Drive, you could actually have 80 minimum, and then you can actually have Choice Band on there, so it would take it sub 100. Again, you know, you'd be able to play Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele would feature in your deck. It's becoming a real staple. I think it would be great to have Tapu Lele just hit out for even more damage. And finally, Volcanion. Now, obviously, there's no secret about Volcanion. The problem with Volcanion sometimes is that, especially with Field Blower, nowadays it will just get rid of your float stones. But it's great to have the recovery option that that the supporter actually allows you to have. So, you know, with Volcanic Heat, you could play Volcanic Heat, and if you weren't able to retreat, or if you were just finding that one of your Pokemon was just gusted out, one of your bench Volcanion EX, you could just play Kiawe and then just accelerate and hit out even further. So again, all right, okay, so that's again, you know, like this is a brand new reveal. We haven't been able to see any of the other item cards in the set, but it is very, very exciting news for Fire Pokemon. I hope, and I certainly hope that you know, you try out some of these ideas, talk about some of the ideas, and maybe come up with some comments in the page below. Are there any other ideas that we haven't covered or anything like that? Do let me know.